Have you ever wanted to stiffen your felt pieces, weren't sure whether it was felted enough or whether you needed to resort to adding some kind of external hardener? We understand because we get that question all the time about how to stiffen felt, how to make it more hard, and most people want to consider playing with some external applications or some products added to the felt, but maybe you don't want to risk your felt and maybe you don't want to spend the money just to see what's going to work and what isn't. Well, stick around because today we're going to jump into that. We're going to apply a variety of products to our felt, show you how to apply them, and share how they change the hand or the texture and the feel of the fiber so you can make an educated decision when it comes to your own felt. So if you are a veteran, welcome back. Today's segment is an excerpt from our live broadcast called Woolly Wednesday. We go live almost every Wednesday of the year and share fun tutorials and projects that you can make. We also do shout outs and share community projects as well. We have lots of contests. We always give away prizes at the end of the live show. So this is a segment from that. If you like wet felting, needle felting, and nano felting, or nuno felting, if that's how you say it, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get notified every time we go live and upload a new video. Today we're going to be looking at ways to stiffen your felt. It's a question we get all the time, and what we know is you probably don't want to take a gamble on your own felted piece and you don't know where to begin with so many products. I brought in not everything possible, but a collection of products today, and we're actually going to look at some different things that you can do to make your felt more dense or more firm or more stiff or even more hard. So this is a great big box of a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to be sharing some of these things with you, some that I like and some that I really don't. But the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to just talk about getting a stiff felt. So when you're thinking about getting stiffening your felt or hardening your felt, one of the first things you want to be able to do is to create a really good felt and full it as far as you can. So I brought in a collection of things today for you to look at, and these are a variety of items, each felted with different fibers that we sell here in the shop. So some of them maybe you've seen before. Let's start with this little vessel. This vessel is made with our MC1 batting. We have a free tutorial for wet felting over resist. It's like a beginner project that you can start with. And this vessel has been well fulled. It is stiff enough to hold its shape, and other than that, it's just a decorative item. So that's all we wanted it to do, is hold its shape and not collapse in on itself if you touch it, but it's still soft and nice to touch. So this vessel is well fulled, and by fulled I mean it's really shrunken down in the felting process. This piece is made with merino top. Some of you will recognize this as a Pva Glue design. Made this in a class with Pam, and she calls it her splash. So I don't teach this, but this is a Pva Glue class. She teaches it in person and online. This piece is really well felted. You can see that this inner stamen holds its shape and that the edges stick up and hold their shape. And this has been well fulled or stiffened just in the wet felting process.
Laura asks, why would you want a really stiff felted project?
I think when we look at a few things that'll make a little more sense. People often ask about stiffening a hat brim. Maybe it's a vessel they have that they want to be a little more stiff. This piece is something you'll recognize. This piece was felted by Pva Glue, a friend of ours, and this is made from the merino pre-felt. You can see if we take a different view, maybe look at it from the side, that it kind of, it's holding its shape right here. So it's just like this. They both kind of hold the shape that you put them in, and it's been fulled enough to retain that shape. So when you think about stiffening your pieces, I think the best thing to do is to learn how to make a good piece of felt first, whether it's flat or three-dimensional, so that it's really holding the shape. And to illustrate that point, I brought for you one of my hats. So this hat is made with the merino short fiber bats, and it was made on this big resist that you see right here. So this is about 4 ounces of wool because I wanted to make a great big warm and slouchy winter hat. the more wool you use, the less shrinkage you'll get. So sometimes you have to put in a lot more elbow grease to shrink a bulk of fiber down to a smaller footprint. But this thing is shrunk at least 40%. I'd have to measure it again to see, but I really shrunk it down. And what it does is it produces a really thick felt. This is probably a 1/4 inch thick. If you look around, I've not healed the edges in all the places. So you can see that it's really thick and weighty. And before you think about adding anything topical, think about learning to make a really good felt and really shrinking it down so that you know what it looks like when you've just taken it all the way. And that's what the fulling is. That's what the fulling is. The fulling is, once you get past the soft felt stage, it's really creating a dense felt by further entangling and shrinking the fibers, getting them closer and closer together. That's why the more there is, the less it will shrink, because that space is kind of already being taken up. Yeah, okay? So that's lesson 1, felt really good. Felt really good.
Lena shares beautiful hat.
Oh, thank you. If it wasn't so warm, I'd wear it. Okay, so the next thing I want to look at is something that's really easy to obtain, really easy to get, and that is standard spray starch. You can get these anywhere. So with a spray starch and an iron, you might like to, I'm just going to activate my iron a little bit, you might like to add stiffening to a hat or a hat brim. Now this faultless, you can just get this anywhere. I know because my friend Dawn Edwards bought this can, I think at the local gas station when she was here. So this is like an aerosol spray, and this is Mary Ellen's Best Press. And y'all, we've included links to all of these things in the description. They'll be on the YouTube, and they're here in Facebook too. Mary Ellen's Best Press is a liquid and a non-aerosol and unscented. So that's the reason I like it. So you might recognize this little guy. This is one of the vessels we made together a few weeks ago. This is one of the ones that I made with you. And I'll show you, it's very soft to the touch, like the one we were just looking at. It's still nice and smooth. It feels really nice. And but nonetheless, it kind of holds its shape all by itself. Now, if you wanted a hat or a vessel or a bowl, whatever you want to call it, or even a flat piece a little more stiff, then you might consider going first to something like a spray starch, because it's going to have the least impact on the hand or the feel and the texture of the fiber. Okay, so with the Best Press, the thing about it is they want you to get it into the felt or the fiber, whatever fabric you have. If you don't want it to flake, they kind of want it to absorb in first. That's why some people might say that they like to apply it to their fabric, even if they're doing quilts or ironing a shirt or something. They might apply it to their fabric first. The Mary Ellen's is just a spray, is just like a spray and iron kind of thing. So let's start on the Mary Ellen's, which is where I put it on the purple side first, because you can see this stuff is still kind of bubbling on the outside. Now, if you're worried about your iron, you can use a pressing cloth. If it seems like the stuff kind of sticks on your iron or you get any gumminess, clean it with steel wool. My iron had some stuff on it, and I think it was from when we were blocking a hat with this stuff. And my husband cleaned it for me with steel wool. I thought it was going to damage my iron, and no, it didn't.
Good to know.
I know. Okay, so I have a felt sheet down here. I'm just going to put it on my table so I don't get all this starch on my felt sheet. This is just on my vessel is just on a plastic bucket, and that's why I have fabric down, just so I don't come in contact with that bucket. So just press all around, and for a really, if you want it to feel like it has even a little more of a stiff outer, keep applying the starch.
Heather asks, does spray starch attract dust to the finished felted product?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I think it tends to tame down the nap. I think it tends to kind of tame it down. Now I put the Mary Ellen's on this side, right? The purple side. And let's just do another coat. What else? Do y'all use spray starch? So if y'all use this, leave a comment below and let us know like what spray starch you like and why, whether you use that in your quilting or to iron your clothes or whatever. I tend to avoid spray starch just because I don't like smells, but Mary Ellen's has no smell at all. And I have to say that this Faultless for being fresh scent is not so bad. It's like, it really doesn't bother me, and I'm really fussy about smells. Now, if you notice any flaking, it's going to be because the stuff was still kind of sitting on the surface. So that's the argument for waiting a little while for it to kind of sink into your fabric. But that's all you have to do to starch something is pick your favorite starch and steam press it. So now I did bring in a hat. I did not make this hat. My amazing and talented friend Dawn Edwards did. And this is the beautiful hat she made for our new online school. Now, what I want to tell you about this hat is it's made with merino top, silk fabrics, and a silk hanky. It's absolutely gorgeous. Dawn made this here in the studio, and you can see now the brim is still, and feel the brim. Still soft?
Still floppy.
It's soft. No. So the brim has actually not been treated with anything. Only the crown was blocked with the this Faultless spray starch. So you can feel here that it's a little more rigid, and here it's a little more soft. And so this allows it, just using the spray starch allowed it to keep a little more of its shape, but it really feels very nice and finished. This just feels a little more soft than this. So I think spray starch beyond fulling is a great place to start. Start right there. Okay, cool. All right. So why don't you leave us a comment down below. If you use spray starch, let us know what you use and what you like, or even what you don't like, so that others can follow along with your ideas too.
Alrighty, we've got a couple questions. Elise wants to know, will the stiffening agents last forever, or do you have to keep reapplying them?
Oh, that's a really good question. So with spray starch, I imagine the more wear that something gets, the more it's going to kind of break down, so you can reapply it. But the other stuff we're looking at is a little more aggressive, and so I think that it's going to be for items that aren't getting wear and tear, probably, except for one I'm going to show you, I think can take a little more wear and tear. But for the next one that I'm going to show you, I would say use it for something that's like a set and forget, something you kind of want to put on the shelf. Although you may be able to refresh it, I wouldn't plan on it. Okay, so what we're going to look at here is, this is Night Owl Nightlight that we made together a few weeks ago. We have another one in the shop, but you might remember that I shared a NanoFelt one that was very delicate. He's made with an inner layer of Margalon silk is on the inside, and I'll try and show you that this side here, if I can get my balloon off, this side here is still very soft and very pliable. I have not applied any hardening agent to it. This side, on the other hand, I have applied a hardening agent to, and it's actually kind of...
Oh, you can hear it.
Yeah. So here's what I got for you, and this is Aleene's fabric stiffener. This is meant as like a drapery liquid. You could dip fabric in it and then apply it. But I have another vessel here. This is just a white vessel where the Aleene has been applied to the outside. So if you were to feel this, and I'm going to show you how to do it, but if you were to feel this, what you would see is the outside feels like it has like, you can still feel the fiber, can't you, Anne? You can still feel the fiber. You can feel that there's a little bit of a coating on it, and the inside just feels like wool. So this was made to be like a glow dome, although it's kind of rough. I never even finished it, but it's just kind of like a little glow light. And it's paper thin, so it didn't have a lot of rigidity on its own, and putting a coating on the outside made it more rigid. And I'll show you how we do it by applying more. This guy, how you could also, let me say, you could apply it to the inside. Like if you want the outside to stay natural, you could just apply it to the inside of the vessel. And the balloon just helps hold its shape. This little guy, though, I only applied it to one side. And I only applied one coat. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. Whoa, that's fun.
Yeah.
So you can see the difference. Now, I stuffed the ears with cling wrap. I stuffed the ears with cling wrap so that it would have shape. And then I only blew up this little balloon inside. Otherwise, there's nothing in there because he's a little nightlight. So what you can see is this side. See how I can kind of poke at it and nothing really happens? But if I spin it around.
Oh, yeah.
So this guy is made with a single layer, I'll try and hold it up, of Margalon silk on the inside. I don't know if this camera can zoom in on that. Margalon silk and a paper thin layer of fiber plus silk fabric, silk fabric, silk fabric. And I told Anne that the whole thing with fiber, a whole layer of inside fabric, and these 3 pieces of outside fabric is 0.6 ounces.
Dang.
So there's very little fiber. And so the reason you might want to add a stiffening agent is to take something that's really light and delicate, but you like the effect, in this case, a glowing light, and then make the outside more rigid. So I'm going to have to take him home and get another balloon because I apply the stiffening agent with the balloon inside. Okay, and it didn't stick to the balloon, oh, by the way. So let's look at how you use this stuff. I don't have a tray, so just so I don't make a mess. How's everyone doing? If this is helpful for you, leave us a comment down below, especially on the YouTube playback. If this is interesting for you, if you think you'd like to give it a go, let us know. So what I've done is I've taken this Aleene stiffening agent with 50% water, and I wrote it here. Great reason to save your lotion jars right there. Mm-hmm. Save your lotion jars. I don't want to spill this on my felt. I didn't bring a tray.
Ooh, Emma asks, would these products be okay with you putting a light in the night owl?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is totally fine. Now, some people would use PVA glue. Aleene's does not market itself as being a glue. Whether the stuff is really the same, I don't know. But you can also get like just a PVA glue, which is like a polyvinyl acetate glue. And some people use that, but these 2 products do not smell the same. They don't smell like they're the same thing. Now to apply this, what I do is I have a little 50-50 solution with water, and I just mix it all up, and I mix it up in like a plastic measuring cup and then just dumped it into my container. And then all you have to do, hence my drip thing, is just paint it on.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a little sponge brush, just paint it on. You know, if you have locks and stuff, yeah, it's going to go over them or, whatever it is. But that's all you do. Paint it on and set it overnight and let it just chill. Don't fuss with it.
Jenny says this is so helpful. Maria says yes, this is very good info. Michelle says super helpful.
Oh, good. Now keep in mind, some people are just going to hate what happens to the outside of your piece. So create something that you won't mind ruining, or make some little sample pieces first and take it slowly. All of this stuff is going to be ideal if you apply 1 coat at a time and then go back to it. But this is how you apply this stuff, and just go layer by layer. This piece is holding its shape pretty well. If it was the shape that I loved, I would just leave it alone because I like the kind of fuzzy texture. But I really was saving this piece as a training piece for you because I've been kind of checking out these products for a while and trying to figure out what to recommend. Okay, so that's as easy as it is to apply the Aleene's PVA glue, the same thing, but I would recommend going for a 50-50 solution to start. So 1-to-1 ratio of water and whatever the product is. Okay, so I'll get rid of this guy.
Have you noticed any of these products darkening or changing the color?
No, I have not. Now, I have heard that PVA glue yellows over time, which is why I went to Aleene's instead for mine. So I would read the reviews, and all of these products we don't carry, so we've given you Amazon links. Read the reviews before you buy. Oh, and by the way, I tried to choose products that really weren't overly expensive. They might be $5, $6, $11, $12, whatever they are, but but with the Aleene's, no, I've heard really good things about the Aleene's, and I'm not seeing it yellowing over time.
And Denise asks, when you're applying these items, are you fully trying to saturate it and press it through the layers, or just lightly dabbing on the top layer?
I'm just treating it like the top layer first, because you may not want to impact the second layer. You may want the second layer to stay, especially like if you were going inside instead of the outside. You may not want it to go all the way through. It's really interesting how the wool absorbs that product, but doesn't necessarily leach through to the other side like a quilting fabric would. Yeah, it's been really interesting. Okay, so I have another product for you here. Now this was I discovered quite on accident. I don't really believe in accidents. And knows. I discovered when I was at the quilt store one day, and I can't help but noodle around, and I saw a finished purse hanging, and it had a really interesting base to it. And I asked the lady about it because it kind of had a sheen. And this particular store, if it ain't for quilting, they don't sell it. It's not like Joann's and they sell a variety of fabrics. And it had been treated with this material to make it like oilcloth. So I don't know if you guys have seen this stuff. I'm setting up my station here, but it is called Oticoat. Oticoat. I don't think it was super cheap there, but I think it's cheaper on Amazon, and I included the link to it. And Oticoat's this really interesting stuff. It's kind of like a gel. So when you look at it, now this might look like glazing mediums do, and I brought in a glazing medium, and I've had some people say, use a glazing medium. I bought this to check it out. It stinks.
Oh,
yeah, this would be kind of intense if you were using a bunch of it, and this stuff is really mellow. And that was my biggest concern, is that it was going to stink. So Oticoat is interesting because it's designed to create like an oilcloth effect. And this little vessel that we made together, I have done the inside and the outside with a single layer of the Oticoat. So I don't know if you would like to use this, but I would say it's going to add some rigidity to your felt right away. And if you go with a single coat, it's going to look fairly matte. Are you going to be able to tell it's on there? Yes. But when I first started felting, I mean, like visually, but look up close. I mean, I don't think it's horrible. Maybe a top down, Anne, and let's look at with a little better camera. I don't think it's horrible. When I first started felting, we were told to use this. It was almost like a sugar glaze that confectioners would use on candy, and it left the most horrible white film. And this I don't think is too terrible. This is one coat on the inside and the outside, and if you keep adding to it, it will be shinier. So this is a piece of commercial felt that has 4 coats, I think I said on it. 4 coats, because I wanted to see how long before it gets smooth and there's no nap. And it's probably would take a while because felt has a bit of a nap, and it tends to keep bumping up on itself, if you know what I mean, building up on the bumps that are already there. But I'm going to show you how to apply it. And for this, you might want gloves, but it does wash up with water. Oh, by the way, all these things wash up with water. And the Aleene's too is acid free. And I think this is acid-free too. It cleans up with water, so I still use gloves though, and I want to show you the way I have found best to apply it, and that is with like a little paint spatula. So I just kind of scoop out a little bit, and then I'm going to smear it on just like that. Now what I found is this stuff, this Oticoat, does not necessarily bleed through to the other side readily. So when I put it on the piece of commercial felt at first, it did not bleed through the other side. And now after 4 coats, we're just starting to see some migration all the way through. So I am applying this, and what you want to do is apply it evenly, so this little scraper is really helpful because you can scrape it off, like where it globs on, you can just kind of scrape it off and smear it back on. Now, so, you may not want to change the hand of your felt, and that's why we wanted to do this today, so you can see what does happen if you start applying these things, and maybe you'll find one, that is of a little more interest to you to start with, even if that's just learning to more fully.
Carolina shares, I love to see new methods and products to help our our projects go to that next level. Thank you for having the heart of a teacher, Maria.
Oh, Carlina, we love you, dear. I thought about things like this, like, I don't know, maybe you have something that you really want to last through the years and you don't care if it's fuzzy, and you want it to be able to go in and out of a storage box, like a particular kind of Christmas ornament or even a part of a Christmas ornament, so that it could be a little more durable. Well, then you can apply stuff like this. So this is the Odie coat. I think that there is some two different varieties of packaging out there on the market. This is the one I got, and I kind of think that they just did a rebrand. Probably not much difference, but that's what this is. Mine is marked $13.99, and I do think it's cheaper on Amazon if you follow that link that we gave.
Is the Odie coat waterproof once dry?
Yeah. It's designed to make your fabric like an oilcloth. So your felt is already going to be naturally water resistant, and water will tend to beat up on it. But the Odie coat is designed to make like an oilcloth finish. And an oilcloth is kind of like a vinyl tablecloth, kind of like that, an oilcloth, vinyl tablecloth. So you can take a regular fabric and apply that to it, like this purse I saw, and it had this really shiny bottom. So maybe good for, I don't know, a grocery bag or something you're going to tote to the beach, or I don't know.
Lisa shares that extra layer would be great for the bottom of the purse, and Michelle likes it 'cause it could be really cool for water effects.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true for water effects. So I don't know what you guys will use this for, but I'm kind of enthralled by the Odie coat, even just for sewing, and I thought, why not try it on the felt? Now, I want to show you one more product and say, don't buy this for your felt. Not don't buy it, but don't buy it for your felt. And I'm not going to show how to apply it, but I bought this stuff. And it is the Mod Podge spray gloss. And I watched like a infomercial kind of video on it, and it was all hot about using it on fabric and all this stuff. But here's my butterfly, maybe a top down end. Here's my butterfly, which came from the Monarch kit. Actually, Holly mentioned that today. So this is needle felted from our Monarch kit. And if you've seen him in all his radiance, he's really lovely. But this thing looks like crud. It makes a really milky color finish on top. It's really, I knew it would change the hand. But not only did it just change the hand, but it's kind of ugly. Like, it's just getting milkier and milkier on top. And it doesn't look nice. It looks 100% worse than it did before being felted. And this stuff is supposed to be spray stuff. I've used it 3-4 times. This butterfly has 3-4 coats on him, so he is really stiff, and he's needle felted onto felt, but the spray nozzle just won't work no more. I've tried running it under hot water. Yeah, and this stuff I think I paid like $17 for on Amazon. So use it for painted rocks, or maybe something you've decoupaged, maybe a paint, like a painting on wood or something, and you just want to coat it. But I think it does leave a milky finish, and I wouldn't use it on the felt.
Pam says, thank you so much. This is great information. Tammy says, I'm excited to try this out for my ornaments. Laura says, the Odie coat is such an interesting product. Thank you for sharing. Could you use it as a sealant to protect a two-dimensional felted piece?
Yeah, you can use it. It's designed for fabric, and I think using the spatula to smear it on is absolutely the way to go with it. So give that a go. And if you do, tell you what, please post it in our Facebook group and share that. And you might even reference this tutorial so other people can find it and see, because people will be seeing this for the first time. And yeah, just go slow. Remember to make a test piece. If you remember one thing, remember this little swatch. So before you ruin something that you love, make a little felt swatch that emulates the project that you want to use it on, and then ask yourself whether that has the outcome that you were wanting. Because there's nothing like the heartbreak of ruining something that you just spent a whole bunch of time making with your bare hands.
Jessica says, thank you for taking one for the team with the Mod Podge family.
Oh, well, you don't know how many butterflies I made to do that tutorial. So there are a lot of butterflies flying around, so my pleasure. And thank you guys so much too. So I hope this is helpful. And Wendy says sales for Odie coat just hit the roof. Yeah, I think I'll have to buy a share of Odie coat. Check it out. I can't wait to she used it on her sewn purse after it was sewn. So I think it's like, yeah, a final finish. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope this was a fun project for you. If you're going to give it a go, let us know below in the comments what products you would like to try and maybe even what projects you would try them on. We hope you'll share yours online. On Instagram, you can tag us at LivingFelt. On Facebook, join our group LivingFelt Friends. We have some more resources for you here, so you can grab another video, and in the description below is everything that we worked with today, as well as other videos that you might find helpful. If you enjoyed this, we hope that you will subscribe and hit the notify bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. Join us next week at 2 on Wednesday for the live show. You can even win prizes. See you there, guys. Bye.